And baby, the placenta ain't even out when the government is like, we taking your baby. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will be reviewing the new Netflix movies, The Mother. If you are not familiar, The Mother is an action movie about an assassin who comes out of hiding to protect the daughter that she gave up for adoption. Now, there is currently a thunderstorm, rain, hail, sleet, snow. Okay, not snow and sleet, but there's a rainstorm happening right now in Florida. So if you hear thunder in the background, well, child, that's just Florida living. Now, this movie stars Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo, and I am not one of those critics of J-Lo who feels like she can't act and she's terrible. I actually have quite a list of movies that I love J-Lo in. I liked her in enough. I bought her in enough. I love that movie, The Cell. I like Anaconda. I like J-Lo in quite a bit of her roles. I'm not one for romance, but I actually liked her in that movie Angel Eyes. I think she is an actress and she is solid when she is in a role that suits her. But in my humble opinion, she, although an actress and very talented, she is not an actress with a range. And I don't feel like this role suited her. I don't feel like she had the range for this, or at least she didn't really sell me on it. Like I said, I bought her in enough. I didn't buy her here. Now, this is kind of a setup that we have seen before. Assassin coming out of hiding, you know, protecting a kid. We've seen all of that before. And I don't have an issue with a movie giving me something I've seen before if I get an entertaining enough execution. And this execution just was not that entertaining in my humble opinion. Now, we also get Omari Hardwick in here, and he's just fine. Obviously, very capable actor, but he honestly isn't really given very much to work with when it comes to his character. Now, at the top of the movie, I actually had, I won't say high hopes, but I had hope from the opening scene, which I actually enjoyed. I felt like from the opening scene that I was going to be in for a generic, mildly entertaining action movie. But child, the bar was much lower than that. Now, right at the opening sequence, we have J-Lo. She's in this safe house with FBI agents. They're questioning her. And right off the bat, the FBI is standing with their backs to this giant window. Like, baby, you asking to be a target. And we list off J-Lo's credentials, but when the person who knows these villains that they are after and trying to apprehend, the person who knows them, we ain't listening to her when she's trying to warn us that, hey, this ain't safe. You think you following him, but really he's following you. Why would we not listen to her? And then I kind of felt like this was odd in my humble opinion. Now, look, child, I ain't a member of the FBI or law enforcement. However, okay, we have a regular old civilian who comes to us claiming she has info on some bad guys, right? But in exchange for that info, she wants protection. How we jump all the way to the safe house when we don't even have none of the info? Like, don't we need to see what she has to offer before we offer her anything? I just was kind of thrown on how we already at a safe house instead of an interrogation room, and we here questioning her because we don't even know what she got. But anyway, obviously, in the middle of one guy being a jerk, Omari Hardwick is the other guy. He's, you know, being the good cop, I guess, amongst the good cop, bad cop routine, which I don't even think it was a good cop, bad cop routine. The other guy was just a jerk. But he ends up telling her, like, girl, like, we know what we doing. Who are you to tell us? And we're here to protect you. And J-Lo is like, baby, you don't know the first thing about protecting me. And just as the agent is running off at the mouth, he gets shot in the head. And we get, like I said, a mildly entertaining, I'll bet generic opening sequence where there's an attack on this safe house. All of the FBI agents here are getting taken out super easy. And Omari Hardwick's character, Agent Cruz is trying to get J-Lo. They run to another little area and Agent Cruz immediately starts to go up the stairs again in front of a giant window. Baby, look, child. I did not go to the police academy, but I went to the school of law and order and criminal minds, and I know good and damn well if niggas is shooting, you don't go in front of a window. Like, he ran up the stairs right to a window, and he ends up getting shot. And J-Lo, she takes super glue, and she, helps him, and he asks her, am I going to die? Baby, she ain't a doctor. She was not an army, medic. She was an army sniper. Why are you asking her if you're gonna die? But whatever the hell, child, she tells him she don't know, and she pulls him into a closet or something. Oh, and also they were trying to do this little reveal and not show us that she was pregnant, but baby, the movie is called The Mother. So I'm not sure why the director wanted to shoot this like that, where they kind of reveal the pregnant belly. That wasn't a reveal or a shock, but whatever the hell, child. Now, Agent Cruz, and he's in hiding, half maybe dead, and J-Lo's character this is kind of what tripped me out. We are coming up on the house, the bad guys, and we pretty much has taken all the agents down. Well, I mean, we sniping them out, but J-Lo has time to gather up materials and set a trap. And I'm like, baby, why are we not proceeding on the house? We've taken everyone out. No, we don't see nobody moving through the windows. Come on, let's get in here. But whatever the hell, child. So J-Lo rigs this thing up with a candle or something, child. She's in a bathroom. She's hiding in the shower. And that's when we have two main villains in this movie. We have, what was their name, child? Because, baby, the movie's so generic, I don't even really how to remember folks' names. Let me see what their names were. I know it's in my notes, child. Adrian and Hector. Those are our two villains. Now, right now, we have Adrian coming after her, and that's who is in the bathroom. He sees she's pregnant, and he takes a knife and stabs her right in her belly. Come on, you don't get kind of more evil than that. Okay, try to kill me, but to actually go after my belly, that was crazy. But her little thing she rigged up explodes, and the guy ends up, getting blown up. However, we find out later that he didn't actually die. He just had some facial scarring. Now, I thought this was crazy. Now, I guess this could be a generically mildly entertaining movie if you, I don't know, ain't got nothing better to do with your life, and it's Tuesday and you halfway scrolling Instagram and halfway watching the movie. But the story, it really has moments where it just don't make no sense. And I can't put that on J-Lo. She ain't write the movie, child. But so the whole premise is the mother, which that is a positive to the movie. I will say I like the elusiveness of her not having an actual name. She is only known as the mother. Kind of like that movie Tenet when John David Washington was only known as the protagonist, I think it was. He didn't really have a name. I actually kind of like when movies do that. However, the story don't make sense. So the mother was in the military. She got involved with two bad guys, right? Adrian and Hector. And for some reason, we don't know yet, she betrays them. You know what? Let's just get into it. We don't even have to go into the sequence and order of events. So the mother's in the military. She's like, I mean, just think of the top qualifications, and that's her. She has the guy Adrian who teaches like one of her sniper unit training something, and then we have the other guy Hector who is like stealing guns or whatever from the military and selling them on the black market or something like that. And Adrian picks her out of everybody in the unit and tries to pull her into his illegal business, but she declines because she don't want to work for him. She want to come bring something to the table, and what she brings to the table is Hector. So she all good selling arms, doing arm deals, kind of like that movie Lord of War. Like, we just finna be giving arms to everybody all willy-nilly. We don't care who they kill. But when Hector and Adrian end up making this deal, excluding her, and she started feeling like, well, why is it more money than we thought? What? Like, something going on. So she just gotta know what it is, and she discovers that they are smuggling kids. And I guess that's the moral line she won't cross. She'll give guns to any Tom, Dick, and Harry, but she not smuggling kids. So that is why she goes to the FBI. She betrays them. So the whole premise is they want to get her for betraying them, and she's pregnant. She was hooking up with both guys, Adrian and Hector, and I guess the point isn't which one is the father, because Adrian Cruz asks her and she says the little girl Zoe isn't Hector's or Adrian's. The little girl is hers. So I guess that's insignificant. So the mother is in the hospital after that opening scene, and baby, the placenta ain't even out when the government is like, we taking your baby. Like, you danger. We finna take her because that's the only way she'll be safe. Now, hold on now, child. I'm the trained military assassin. I'm the one who knows how to live off the grid undetected. Wouldn't I be the best person for my child to be with as opposed to Betty and Billy? Like, just regular old Leave It to Beaver folks? Like, for me, that was so nonsensical. So the mother ends up successfully living off the grid in Alaska or something like that, I think it was. And her daughter is living in the suburbs. Now, initially, the mother is hesitant. She don't want to give her baby up, but she's convinced that the baby will be safe without her, and she goes to Agent Cruz, who survived. He in a hospital. They all in the same hospital. Where she having her baby, where Agent Cruz is at, we all at the same hospital. And she goes to Agent Cruz's room, and she tells him, I'll do this, but, under the stipulation that you have to send me a picture and update every birthday. She has to go to a stable family, and you have to alert me if there's ever any trouble. This also don't make no sense. We were able to find you at that safe house. I don't doubt it would not be hard to find out the agents that was at the safe house and the agent that survived. So if he keeping in contact with your daughter, baby, all we gotta do is follow him. But anyway, I felt like the whole movie did not even need to transpire, because in all honesty, her child would have been safer growing up with her living off the grid in Alaska, child. But anyway, so something else that didn't make sense. When the mother goes to live off the grid, she chooses a place where an old army buddy also lives. And I think he runs like a corner store or something. And she tells him, when we see each other in town, pretend we don't know each other. Baby, if I can find you at a FBI safe house, why would I not be able to find your service records and see who you served with and all that other stuff? Really? I mean, y'all, it just what but I was just like, whatever. Like, I'ma just go along with it. So it's negatives to the movie, to the story. However, honestly, I'm not counting it as a negative to my experience of the film, because I was like, this don't make no sense, but I'm going to just go with it. Because some movies don't make no sense, but you just go with it. It be nonsensical, but you know, it be fun and entertaining, so you just go with it. So honestly, I was like, why would they take her baby? The baby safe, what? But I was like, whatever. I'm just go with it. But the mother is living off the grid in Alaska, and I want to say they time jumped like 10 years, I think. 10, 12 years. I think her daughter was, I don't know, 10 or 12 child. She was playing at a park, which I feel like you stop playing at parks when you're like 8, but I don't know. But whatever the hell, child, we time jump about 10, 12 years. The daughter is like a preteen. Not quite 13, but I want to say we time jump 10, 12 years, whatever. It's incidental. We time jump. So Omari's character, Agent Cruz, contacts the mother because they found one of the men of, I think it was Hector. It wasn't Agent. I think it was Hector, and he had a picture of her daughter Zoe, right? Now, this ain't make no sense. After he gives her this little heads up, it's quite a bit that ain't finna make no sense. Okay, we finna go through it. J-Lo is up on like this parking garage with looking through the sniper scope of the rifle, and she sees her daughter and the adoptive parents, and they're playing at a park, right? Now we end up seeing some Hispanic men, and they were not being subtle. First of all, as villains, we ain't being very subtle. Baby, they was screeching with the car that was going fast. It was a lot of attention they were drawing to themselves. And I'm like, this ain't very stealth. Like, how y'all finna kidnap this little girl in broad daylight? But whatever. Now, this ain't make no sense. The mother notices who you can tell is the head Hispanic guy that's down here. He giving hand signals and gestures to the other crew, right? Instead of shooting that main person that's giving the direction, she starts shooting all the incidental people. But then when this is all done and they done kidnapped the daughter, the main person done snatched the daughter up. J-Lo run through the parking garage. The main guy, Tarantula, sends people to go try and get her. She run under cars, whatever the hell. As she's running out, Agent Cruz comes driving by. She hops in the car. This is when we find out, because like I said, you could just tell that lead Hispanic guy was the one in charge in that moment, leading the other crew. But then in this moment, when the mother hops in the car with Agent Cruz, that's when we discover she know who that is. She know that's Tarantula. Hector's like main guy. When you take him out the second you saw that nigga, that didn't make no sense. That did not make any sense. If I know Batman after me and I spot Robin and Robin giving orders to some other crew, I'm not finna shoot the other crew. I'm gonna shoot Robin. Like, if I already recognize this is like the lieutenant of the person that's orchestrating and after me, and that I'm, got this thing with, I'm gonna shoot that person. I'm not shooting all the other incidental people. I'm gonna shoot y'all ass, but I'm finna take out the main person that's giving y'all orders. That didn't make no sense. Other part of that made no sense. Agent Cruz supposedly worked for the FBI, but baby, we don't see the FBI throughout the whole movie after the Zoe grow up. Everything he do, even though he worked for the agency, he doing it like the Lone Ranger. You know the little girl is in danger. You found her picture on one of the henchmen, which means they know she exists. They know her identity. They know how she look. And they kind of address it in the movie. The mother says, why couldn't you set up a simple perimeter or whatever the hell? And he gonna say, well, we didn't know what time, when it'll happen. Well, you knew to be here now. So you couldn't have other agents here now. And anytime I see a movie and somebody is in danger and need protection, they be like, oh, we're gonna sit a squad car outside the house at XYZ. Like, you just already put people in place, even if you don't know exact, because how you gonna know the exact time and place that we gonna attack? You just sit people there in preparation, not I know this person in danger, but we ain't gonna do nothing because we don't know the time and the place that it's gonna pop off. That ain't make no damn sense. That ain't make no damn sense. But the whole rest of the movie is no other agents helping him. He just does everything solo dolo with the mother. And it really was it didn't make any sense to me. Particularly when we rescue the girl and he by himself, but we'll get to that, child. So, something else that didn't make sense. I'm gonna skip ahead. Speaking of rescuing the girl. So, the whole situation with the mother and Zoe is she didn't even know Zoe's name. And when all this pop off, she tell Agent Cruz, you can tell me her name now, right? So we rescued a little girl. And instead of the mother just acting like she's another agent like Agent Cruz, because we have a scene after Zoe is kidnapped, we get a scene at the parents' house where the mother is wearing the suit and she walks into the house, acting like she's just another law enforcement FBI agent. So instead of acting super weird and awkward when you come in contact with the little girl and you don't want to admit you're the mother, instead of being super awkward and extra and obvious, why you don't just act like, oh, I'm Agent so-and-so and I'm here with Agent Cruz on assignment to bring you back home? Why you ain't just do that? The mother was being so awkward and obvious. There's moments where we're in the car and she's staring the little girl down. The second little girl look at her, she look away. But slow like, because you could see she was looking at the little girl and then she just gonna turn. Baby, why is you being obvious? You don't want the girl to know you her mama, so stop being so odd and awkward and obvious. It hurt my nerves so bad. But anyway, I jumped ahead because that did not make a lick of bit of sense. Just play it cool, girl. Act like you just an agent with him coming to save her. Something else that don't make no sense. Now, when she told the mother in the hospital, told Agent Cruz to, send her yearly updates, I didn't think that meant him personally being in the little girl life. When we go to rescue Zoe, she immediately recognizes Agent Cruz. She knows who he is. So how exactly did we explain him to the little girl and to the parents? So do the parents know you finna adopt this little girl who mama was involved with these bad guys and they after her and possibly gonna come after the dog? Like, it just don't make no sense for the little girl to know who he is. And I'm talking about know who he like Uncle Cruz. Like, she love him. They got a good, like, that means she grew up with this man. She know. How does that make any sense? And again, it goes back to what I said earlier. If he and the little girl like keeping tabs on her, all the bad guys got to do is follow him to get to the girl. Like, it just doesn't add up. Is it just me? Am I tripping? Am I crazy? It don't add up. If I want my child safe, okay, whatever. I'm not beating my head against the wall on the logic of this generic ass movie, child. So Agent Cruz gets like fake passports for him and the mother so they can go to Cuba and rescue Zoe, right? And they super, like, easily track down Tarantula. I'm talking about they ain't break a sweat finding this man. It was so easy to find him. I'm talking about it's harder to find Waldo, child. But anyway, they find him super easy and have the most boring chase through the streets. And it was a moment where I guess they thought they was like, oh, y'all, this is a great idea. Somebody was at the round table like, I got it. J-Lo driving in this car. Agent Cruz is on foot chasing Tarantula. There's a wedding happening. The bride tosses up the bouquet. And as she tossed the bouquet, the mother hits Tarantula with her car and he flies up in the air like the bouquet was flying in the air. Yeah, that wasn't hitting. Yeah, no, that wasn't the move. That wasn't the move. I'm sorry, but it wasn't. But the way she hit him with the car, she's speeding. She's like, man, she had to be going at least 80 miles an hour. She hits him with the car. He flips up in the air, hits the car, then hits the ground. I feel like he should have been dead, broken neck, broken arm, broken leg, whatever the hell, child. She just say, put him in the trunk. No Cuban police. The bystanders don't, whatever. So then we take Tarantula, and one thing this movie does is it is very heavy-handed and just like spoon-feeding us stuff. And it does it in ways that it's like, we didn't even need that. For example, when she is torturing Tarantula, she has to say, oh, you learned a lot of stuff in the service. You didn't have to tell us that. Lady, just torture the man. Like, the audience is smart enough to fill in certain blanks for ourselves. And then it's also, speaking of, the dialogue is just atrocious. But we also have a moment, like I said, the mother didn't know her daughter's name, and she said, you could tell me now. And Agent Cruz is like, her name is Zoe. It means son, life. I can't remember what it means, but he like tells her what, and I'm just saying, like, baby, we ain't need that. Like, what was the point? It is just quite a few moments when I'm like, why y'all even wrote that in there? Like, okay. And something else that was terrible with the writing was, after this whole little chase or whatever, when we go after Tarantula, we have to fight a few guys in the little bar he's in, and Omari gets stabbed in the back, and he ended up like better off than Dewey when he got stabbed in the back and screamed. At least Dewey had a little limp after he got stabbed in the back in the first Scream. Agent Cruz gets stabbed in the back, and then proceeds to run and chase and fight and flip and dip and twerk. And then like, okay, whatever. So we have a moment where they was trying to make, this little scene with the mother and Agent Cruz, which they lack chemistry like a mofo, but whatever the hell. And she's helping him bandage his back. After he was sitting there trying to like clean up the wound and do everything by himself at first, and she just over there fa-la-la-ing. So he asks her, what made you help me when he got shot? And she says, you gave me water. You seem like the kind of man worth saving. When I tell y'all, I literally laughed out loud at that scene. Literally, I was laughing. Baby, let me tell y'all what she talk about. The opening scene, when they interrogating her, there's already a glass of water on the table. It is literally an arm's reach of her. It's right smack dab. All she got to do is reach out and grab it. And her whole, you gave me water. Baby, you know what he gave me water was? He picked up the water that was already on the table, an arm's length of her, and just moved it a couple centimeters closer to her and said, here, get some water. She act like he went out to a damn wishing well and got what? You gave me what? I was saying, like, y'all couldn't come up with nothing better than that. How about just be a decent human being and help the man because he heard that? Like, that would have came out better than, you gave me water. You seem like a man worth saving. Y'all, I could not. And honestly, it's not even a knock to J-Lo or Omari Hardwick. This was what the damn writers came up with. They had to just work with that. But baby, that scene was so, I was like, oh hell no. This movie, The Mother, reminds me of like a terrible Steven Seagal. I mean, all his movies is terrible, but besides Glimmer Man. Like, Glimmer Man is my ish, but I cannot stand Steven Seagal or his movies. My grandma loves Steven Seagal, child. But this movie reminds me of a Steven Seagal movie, but like worse. It's like a Steven Seagal movie without the fun and the theatrics. Like, J-Lo in this movie is trying to give like hardened, badass, but it's really just very one note. Oh, it was killing me. It was killing me. And Omari and the villains, competent actors, but they are not really giving shit. They're not giving much to work with. The villains are so boring, forgettable. I mean, so after Tarantula tells us where Zoe is, we know it's a trap, but the mother super easy go in, take everybody out, and take the little girl out, right? Now this ain't make no sense. Adrian want the mother and set all this up as a trap, but he literally would not have gotten her because she takes Zoe and she outside and we could have just left. She chooses to go back inside for Adrian. So what kind of damn trap was this? How was you supposed to get her when she chose to come back in? She was free, clear. She was out with the child. They could have just left. But anyway, she goes to confront Adrian, and this little scene, this little bit that we get of him, he was actually giving some remnants of being a pretty entertaining villain to see, but he here and gone like that at the blink of an eye. She takes him out so easy, and I swear to God, I was watching, and I looked at my dog, and I said, "That's it." Like that. Am I the only person be talking to my pets when I'm watching movies? But I literally was like, that's it. That's the showdown in Cuba. The two main villains, Adrian and Hector. I'm sorry, I think I was calling this guy Adrian. This is Hector. But the two main villains, Adrian and Hector, who we up against, who the movie is about, we face down one of those villains in like 0.1112 seconds. She took him out so easy. They have a weird conversation about how they used to do S&M. I don't know where that came from, why we put that in there. I don't know what the hell, child. And he goes to like embrace her and get close to her, and she's able to just literally reach over. Ain't even got to stretch. She just reach over, grab a candle, toss it, headbutt him. And I'm like, that's the showdown? Like, that's it. Girl, instead of going into hiding and giving up your baby, you could have just went and killed him if it was this easy. Because this was easy peasy lemon squeezy. This was so, I was like, child, hell no. That's why I'm like, this is like a terrible Steven Seagal movie, but like without the fun. Like we couldn't even, y'all, I couldn't. This first little showdown with one of the main villains, this whole thing popped off, and the catalyst for all of this is Adrian and Hector. Why the hell did you have to run if you could have took him out, Dizzy? You could have been came as easy as it was to find his Lieutenant General Tarantula. As easy as it was to take out all the men in his trap. As easy as it was to take out motherfucking Hector. We ain't have to get a baby up for adoption. You could have just got a babysitter for a few days, came here and took this nigga out and went on about your life. Like if it was this easy. Y'all, I cannot. I was literally watching this like, maybe that's it. Like, really? We couldn't get like at least some kind of showdown, like fight scene where she got to really claw and get. No, she ain't break a sweat rescuing this little girl. She ain't break a sweat. They had J-Lo in here like. Yeah. Okay. Now, this also didn't make any sense. We rescue Zoe, and the mother takes off. Excuse me. The mother takes off, and she leaves, and it's just Agent Cruz and Zoe. He driving her, taking her home. Y'all, where is the FBI? If Agent Cruz is the FBI, and the FBI, the government came in and told the mother to give up the little girl, where are they? Why is it just him by himself driving her home when we got this villain out there, this bad guy, this ruthless man that she needed to give her baby up for because it was so dangerous? Why is it just him taking her back home? And then what don't make no sense, we got Agent Cruz driving along this long stretch of country road, desolate. It ain't a chicken crossing the road, but somehow he does not see in the other lane, like we're going this way and traffic coming this way, right? As he's hitting the intersection, he don't hear or see a car speeding towards them. Y'all, really? Whatever the hell, child. So this is when Adrian pops up and he crashes into Agent Cruz's truck. And Agent Cruz is kind of disoriented in the front seat. And while all of this is going on and they driving down the road and they get hit, the mother suddenly decides to get on a motorcycle and come back to them, follow behind them, whatever. So she's on her motorcycle heading over as this all goes down, and they shoot Agent Cruz and kill him. And that annoyed me. Y'all could have at least given this man something to do. Why he couldn't at least win out fighting? Like, to have Agent Cruz really just disoriented from the crash and just sit there and then just get shot. That was so lame. Like, that was like, can y'all give us some, like, if you gonna give me a lackluster script, at least give me some good action, or baby, you know what? I ain't gonna ask for good. At least give me some mildly, entertaining action sequences. Like, throw in action anywhere you can, since your script and dialogue is lacking so much. But no, we just lackadaisically just, is that a word? Did I say that right? I feel like I said it wrong. What word am I thinking of? Whatever. They just easily just boop, and he dead. Like, that's so like, give us something, man. We just got the super dull, uneventful Cuba sequence, and now we get the dull way that Agent Cruz gets taken out. Y'all couldn't give us nothing. Y'all filmmakers, y'all supposed to be entertaining us, child. The action in this movie was just, it was lacking so bad. And I like J-Lo, like I said. I'm really disappointed in her performance. She did have some really good moments, but she just wasn't pulling it off. It's like she was, I guess, trying to give like stoic, but it was just like, I love that show she did with Ray Liotta, that Shades of Blue. And I feel like from seeing that, she should have been able to pull this off, but something just wasn't connecting. And I can't put my finger on it. But then we get the mother. She's able to get Zoe and hop on the motorcycle and get out of there. And she calls Zoe's mother to say she's safe, but she gonna stay with me for a while. And they at a diner, and I thought this was crazy. It's like some old truck outside the diner that says for sale. The waitress come over to get the money for the tab, and J-Lo hands her a ton of cash, and the waitress is like, Angela gonna say, oh, that's for the truck. You know how mad I would have been? Like, nah, hold on. The waitress ain't selling the truck, baby. This my tip. Like, that waitress was probably so happy. But shouldn't you find who's selling the truck? Because how you just hand anybody the money? But whatever the hell, child. This movie, it's like the absurdity of a Steven Seagal movie without the excitement. Because we got some snowmobile-ish okay, so J-Lo takes Zoe to where she been hiding out and living in, like I said, I think it's Alaska. And Zoe, for me, actually, she didn't really bother me. Yeah, she was obnoxious, but writers seem to not know how to write teenagers and kids other than to make them annoying and obnoxious. But I actually didn't have any issues with Zoe. I feel like they did well on the casting because I felt like her and J-Lo had good chemistry together. Way more on-screen chemistry than J-Lo had with Omari, in my opinion. Excuse me. The girl playing Zoe seemed to be able to not get overshadowed and overpowered by the star power and screen presence of Jennifer Lopez. So I thought she was a good choice, and I really kind of had no issue with her. Yeah, she did some obnoxious stuff and she said some obnoxious stuff, but I ain't even gonna really, it wasn't the worst I've seen when it comes to kids and teenagers. And like I said, that's just how they always write people her age. Now, we're living out here, and this ain't make no sense. The little girl, of course, want to go home. She want to go to her parents, and the mother tells her she not leaving until she teaches her how to survive. And I'm sitting here like, baby, you was in the military. You had years of training. How long you think it's going to take to teach this little girl to survive? Ain't that going to take like years? I didn't understand the whole objective of staying out here being, you could go when I teach you to survive. I would think the objective is, you need to stay with me until I take out the danger. I didn't think it made sense to say the objective is, you stay here until I teach you how to survive on your own. That didn't make no sense to me. But whatever the hell, maybe I'm wrong. I ain't no survivalist. I don't know how you teach people to survive on their own, but I would think if you're teaching a child to survive on their own, that's gonna take time and years. But whatever the hell, child. So we have this sequence, like I said, they just was heavy-handed in what they was trying to give the audience. We have this mother wolf and her cubs, child. But something that annoyed me, that I guess I won't say annoyed me, but that I thought would come into play is the mother gives Zoe this knife and tells her about, hand-to-hand combat, and if you close enough to use a knife. I thought the knife would come into play with Adrian, that we would have like a exciting, like climactic moment at the end. No, that ain't happened. I thought that was foreshadowing something that was going to go down with Zoe, the knife, and Adrian, but no, it didn't. But anyway, the little girl decides to take it upon herself to go out and try and feed these, these was puppies. They could at least got some huskies, like get something that's going to look wolf-like, but whatever the hell. The little girl go out to try and feed wolves, and she ends up getting bit by one of them. So the mother has to take her into town to get stitches or whatever. And I don't know if it's because I grew up with a movie buff for a parent and I saw a lot of movies. But baby, common sense would tell you in a situation like this, you don't give your real name. So the little girl gives them her real name. And of course, J-Lo is like, oh, shoot. And Zoe is like, I'm sorry, I didn't know, I wasn't supposed to give my name. Girl, we hiding out. You saw Agent Cruz get killed. People kidnapped you. What you mean you ain't know you weren't supposed to give your name? But, so, the mother takes Zoe to her old compadre that works in town and asks him to take her because they put the name in the system and Adrian gonna be on the way. And of course Adrian comes with a whole arsenal, a whole platoon, and this is our big final act, climactic sequence. And honestly, it wasn't terrible. I was mildly entertained. I was engaged enough. But my enjoyment of this movie could have been upped. My overall score of this movie could have been upped if they really brought it home in this climactic sequence. I feel like it was a lot of decisions we could have made that would have elevated this final showdown, especially given the fact that the showdown with the other half of this little villain group was so lackluster. But anyway, basically, we have this crazy freaking snowmobile chase that happens, and fast forward, the mother and Zoe is up in the little guard tower, but Adrian has a sniper set on the little girl, and he tells the mother to come down, and she tells Zoe to, get out of there, run, whatever the hell. And the mother ends up having a fight with Adrian, who turns out to not be as easy to take out as Hector was. And one thing I really, really hated about this was the choices of the director. The way they were shooting the fighting and action, I hate the way it was shot. I hate how they was cut in the way. I also didn't like, they had this weird Instagram filter of the movie. Particularly when it really stood out for me was when we were in Cuba and with Tarantula, and we had that blurred, odd Instagram filter background. I didn't understand that. Who made that choice? Who edited this? Who looked at that? I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all, in the slightest. I thought that was terrible. So that also brought down my enjoyment, was the way things were shot, the way they were cutting away. I didn't like it. I feel like overall this movie was a good idea. Like I said, I have no problem with seeing things that I've seen before. I feel like this was a good idea, some decent moments, capable enough lead, but overall some very thin and incompetent villains, a very lackluster and nonsensical story, passable enough action sequences that were terribly shot, but fine enough. The very end of the movie, while the mother is fighting Adrian, Zoe she tries to shoot Adrian, but she ends up shooting the mother, but it's the little fake bullets. I think it was like salt rounds or something, and the mother is really hurt. Adrian is driving off in his car with Zoe, and the mother is able to just shoot. She misses at first, but she's able to take him out, but she sees blood splatter. It looks like it's on the part of the window in front of the passenger seat. She can't see Zoe, so she starts, crying and stuff because she thinks she killed her daughter, but Zoe was just fine. And in the end, that end would have been just fine, but we had to tack on this stupid ending where Zoe is back with her parents, and the mother is looking at her through a sniper scope, and Zoe looks up and does this, and the mother is like, "Oh, you got me." Y'all, that was so terrible. Y'all could have cut that out, child. Y'all could have cut that out. I feel like the final ending third act was entertaining enough, and I would have preferred, J-Lo is aging amazingly. She looks great, but I would have preferred when we time jump and found her living in a wilderness, instead of having them extensions in her hair and foundation on, I would have preferred if she looked a lot more rugged and actually looked like, I don't know. I want her to look more rugged and not as done up and put together when you're talking about someone living off the grid and living out in the wilderness, living off the land, hunting, what you eat and stuff like that. I wish we got more of that kind of look. Omari Hardwick's character was pretty useless, but I enjoyed him throughout the movie because he is a really good actor. The little girl playing Zoe was charming enough, although pretty obnoxious and annoying, but she was charming enough. It wasn't the fault of the actress playing Zoe. That's just how they wrote the character, but I enjoyed her just fine. She didn't bother me, but overall I would have to give this a 3 out of 10. Man, yeah, this was pretty bad. I'm putting this towards the bottom when it comes to J-Lo's movies. And I wouldn't necessarily put it at the bottom of her performances. I love that movie Anaconda, but her performance is not very good in that movie. So this wouldn't be at the bottom of J-Lo's performances, but it is at the bottom of her movies. It was a real miss for me. Let me know in the comments, what did you think of Netflix's The Mother? Y'all already know the relationship I have with Netflix. Netflix is either hit or miss, but they are way more miss than hit. This is a company that is just not very consistent, man, and it irks me. Like, I don't even need like top tier, like, what was that movie they did I love? What Happened to Wednesday, or the one with, what's my Hispanic guy that I love, where it was like aliens and something like that. I love that movie. It doesn't even have to be on the level of What Happened to Wednesday and that movie, The Extinction, The Invasion. Y'all, what was that movie called? Dang it, that's gonna bug me. But anyway, just give me mildly average movies that's enjoyable and entertaining. It doesn't have to be top tier above average, but can I at least get average tier movies? Stop giving me bottom tier, below average movies. But let me know in the comments as well, are you one of those people who just don't like Jennifer and you feel like or maybe don't not like her, but you just feel like she's not a very good actress? I actually feel like she can act. If you haven't, I highly suggest watching her show Shades of Blue. She held her own with one of my favorite actors, Ray Liotta. She is a very capable actress in my opinion, but she has to be in roles that fit her range for me, because, you know, she ain't a Samuel L. Jackson. She's not somebody who can kind of be a chameleon and pull off an array of characters. Thank you so much for watching this video, for supporting the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.